Just pretend for a second that I have water in here. I had a tiny bit. That's it. It's gone now. Lack of water timestamp. This is... I put it down before I even said anything. I'm Devin, your friendly neighborhood board gamer. I'm Devin, your friendly neighborhood board gamer. And this is Devin Talks Tabletop, the YouTube channel where the games are made up and what I say does not matter. There we go. I made it all the way through. Time to move on. It's a wonderful kingdom. I'm unboxing this, but this is less of just an unboxing and more of a first impressions, because I've already played this game 3 times, and I really like it. I like it for the same reason. So here's the thing. I have played It's a Wonderful World, the game on which this builds upon. The game upon which this builds. We are going back into preposition deep water here. Anyways, I've played It's a Wonderful World. It's actually sitting right there. I really liked it. I played it at 2, and I thought it was solid at 2. I think it would be interesting to see how 3, 4, and 5 play out at the larger player counts. And I also have the 2 expansions, and I want to play those and try those out. However, in the same way that Seven Wonders Duel plays upon the structure of Seven Wonders, so too does It's a Wonderful Kingdom take what its predecessor did and create a really intense and strategic 2-player experience. This is 2-player only. And it adds a bunch of modules that you can integrate that really create some fun tests. It's very punishing. It's a very punishing game. And I don't mean that. That's a compliment. It's not something to worry about. But this is a game that if you are using all of those modules, if you're using the menace cards, if you're using the giant rats, if you're using the thieves, if you're using the thieves, plural, or you're using the shadows or the frost giants, all of those things create such a tense decision space for players. Because in the regular It's a Wonderful World, it's the same thing as simultaneous drafting in other games. You are taking your set of cards, you're picking one, you're hoping that the one you still want is there when it comes back around to you, but ultimately there is some level that is left open to... Is there a thing in there that I missed? I didn't see it, but there should be. Is there one more punch board somewhere? Oh no, you just need the 1 marker. You don't need more than 1. Okay. All of that to say, in this game, you're not passing it around and around in a larger circle. You're creating 2 rows above and below this board on which you make your decisions. You add 2 cards at a time. You either add both of them to 1 row or 1 to each. And then depending on what's still in those rows, because you can always pass, you can always choose not to take anything, which is important given your trap cards and whatever menaces you're playing the game with. You're able to take cards into your draft pool for that round. But you're also using trap cards, able to play stuff face down. And that's where each person has either the same or different menace cards. You either have, in the gameplay that I did with Play the Game, which it was me and Allison while Daniel was behind the camera, Allison had the thieves, which block up your production rate in your main capital city or whatever. Your base general production, they clog that up, which is not good in a game that's about engine building through the cards that you create. And then on the flip side of things, I had giant rats, which are just negative points, but also if left unattacked and undealt with, every single round they will produce a vermin, which is a smaller additional negative point value. So it really is this agonizing decision where sometimes you're trying to determine, okay, they just played a face-down trap card. Are they giving me the bad card from their hand? Or are they giving a crappy card from their hand that they want me to think is a good card? Or are they actually hiding a good card and they're wanting me to think that it's either a crappy card or a menace card, and I don't want to take either of those. So it's so many layers of psychology and reverse psychology as you're trying to ascertain what your opponent is doing and then figure out what the best course is for you. Sometimes the best course for you is just to completely ignore what they're doing and move on to something else. But I mean, these menace cards are brutal. The Frost Giants completely frees up your ability to construct cards, I'm pretty sure. And the Shadows, they allow you to, I think you're able to take a cube from your opponent whenever they recycle, it goes to you instead of your opponent. Sorry, whenever somebody recycles for the benefit of a cost, if they have a shadow on them, it goes to their opponent rather than to them. The giant rats, as I said, they spawn vermin, which there are a bunch of vermin because if undealt with, you can get a lot of them. The thieves clog up your production rate. And then the menaces, or the calamities, they're just negative points at the end of the game. They're kind of the base one that you can get. All of these cards are negative. There's also positive cards, though, here. There's these positive cards that you can get that allow you to pay. Everything here is the use of the soldiers. So in the last one, you kind of had the bankers and the generals, I think were the two categories. And then in this, it's just soldiers. And you train them and then you get them off of this board here. But once you get them, they're the resource that you use to rid yourself of these menaces, but they're also the resource that you use to pay for these positive benefits. So if you want to not go so hardcore into the negatives, but give yourself a little bit more flexibility on the positive production side, you can get these interesting like treasure cards here. And these, I think, replace the actual treasure cards in your deck. So all of them create such a layered level of opportunity, and I really like what they do. They make such a interesting decision space for you as players. But man, are they brutal. Man, are they brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. So I'm going to put this into 3 piles here. Those are all the cards that give you stuff. These are all the menace cards and the replacement extra cards, and these are your 2 starter cards. So I'm going to put those into 2 piles. I actually think that these are all the production cubes. It's just really fun. I really, really, really like this game. I'm going to put this off to the side, and I'm actually going to... Where are those baggies? Where did I put those baggies? I kind of tossed them, and they went off. They went even further back. There we go. The good thing about games that have extra baggies is that you can then use them when you need baggies for other games. Are these big enough for those? Maybe a little tight. Maybe a little tight. So, let's see. But it works. There we go. That's all that matters is it works. Yeah, see, I don't know if the bigger stack is going to be able to work under those restraints. Yeah, and I only have one of those left. So I actually think I'm going to use this bigger bag for that part of the deck, because I think that makes the most sense. I guess I could also use this one instead, which seems bigger and can fit those. Should be able to fit those. Should be able to fit those. Should be able to fit those. And does. And succeeds. Sticks the landing. Sticks the landing. And now all I need to do is just put these in a smaller one, which I think will actually fit in here. Will it fit in here? Will it fit in here? Maybe. Maybe. Honestly, these don't even need it. These are, because you need to get those, they don't even need to be in a different sized one, which will allow all of these to go in here. That's nice. All the soldiers, hop in, soldiers. Hop in, soldiers. There we go. This is getting to the point where I'm putting so many of these in even like progressively smaller bags that it's getting a little silly. A little silly. Not silly enough that I'm going to change what I'm doing, but silly enough to where I feel the need to comment on it. But I really don't like stuff moving around. I like things to just be bagged up. So, you know, maybe this is one of the ones that Lucky Duck will eventually I don't know. Maybe Game Trays will come up with an insert. Who knows? All right, put that off to the side in case I need it again. And then you've got your scoreboard, which scores based off the production scale. There's also these quests that you can go after, which I think are pretty cool. Are these different at all, or are they just double-sided? They're just double-sided. So even these, at the end of the game, you have these things that you can cash in to give you benefits, but you have one thing that you absolutely have to accomplish, which is like the end goal, and that always costs a bunch of soldiers. And if you don't get that, you're ineligible to win. So everything comes down to making sure you get superiority in these production levels so that you can get soldiers, because the soldiers are how you pay for the quests, they're how you get rid of the menaces, and they're how you pay for those good abilities that were on there as well. So absolutely love this stuff. I'm going to slot those in there, and I think this just goes on top like that. Yeah, and then we're going to pop this in. This is Wonderful Kingdom. I really like this game. I think instinctively it's the one I would like more than It's a Wonderful World, but I have not played It's a Wonderful World with the expansions yet, and I haven't played it at a higher player count. So I think ultimately with the expansions and at a higher player count, these will serve completely two different purposes. This will be the two-player game, that will be the multiplayer game, and they won't really have a lot of overlap in what I appreciate them for. But I really like what this is doing here. I had a blast learning how to play it and enjoying it, and I can't wait to play more. Yeah, It's a Wonderful Kingdom. This is by Lucky Duck and La Boute de Joux. La Boute de Joux, which is, you know, the people... It's a French company, I think, because I think it's the box... Is it maybe the Box of Game? The Box of Game? I don't know. Not sure. Anyways, correct me if you know French. Let me know what that means. But that's the other company that Lucky Duck works with, along with Ori Games. Super, super good. I love this a lot. I hope you guys have a good one. You should check it out when you get the chance. I think it releases at Gen Con. See you next time.